It was the first cold snap of November when she arrived, mud-stained boots, threadbare coat, and a canvas duffel slung over one shoulder. Her name was Lila, but no one asked. She just showed up at the ranch gate one evening, offering to work for food and a place to sleep. The ranch hands chuckled behind their worn gloves, nudging each other as if she were the punchline of a private joke. Women didn't usually last long out here, not on broken land where horses were wild, fences always needed mending, and the work was unforgiving. Barnes got some hay. Take it or leave it, grunted Charlie, the ranch foreman, more out of indifference than cruelty. Lila nodded without complaint. She didn't ask for a bed, didn't protest the cold. That night, she laid her head on a bundle of saddle blankets, shivering beside a half-empty feed bin, the distant howls of coyotes her lullaby. They laughed when she slept in the barn. But Lila wasn't just anyone. By daybreak, she was already working. Hauling water buckets, mucking stalls, patching fence posts with hands blistered raw. She never talked much. She just did the work, quietly, diligently, with a quiet sort of grace that made her invisible at first, then impossible to ignore. At first, they rolled their eyes. "She'll be gone in 2 days," someone said. Then a week passed. Then 2. One morning, a colt panicked in the corral, spooked by a rattler. None of the men could get close. They cursed, waving ropes, trying to outmuscle the young horse. Lila climbed the gate without a word. She approached slow, humming something soft and broken sweet, like a lullaby she hadn't sung in years. The colt stilled. Eyes wide. Breath steaming in the morning chill. She touched its flank gently and whispered, "You're all right." The ranch hands stopped laughing after that. Still, she slept in the barn. What no one knew, what she never said, was that Lila had once had a home. A real one. Walls full of family photos and a husband who kissed her goodnight, until the cancer came and took him in 3 cruel months. The house got too quiet after that. So she sold it. Gave the money to her niece who was trying to finish nursing school. And Lila drifted west. Not looking for anything, really. Just a place where the silence didn't echo so loud. One man noticed her more than the others. His name was Wade. The lone cowboy. Tall, quiet, scarred in that way that doesn't show on skin. He'd been riding fence lines for 15 years, living in the main house alone since his parents passed. The others said he liked it that way. No mess. No noise. Just him and the land. But sometimes, late in the evening, Wade would walk down to the barn with a plate of stew or fresh cornbread and leave it beside her. He never said much. Just nodded and turned away before she could thank him. Then came the storm. One of those vicious, screaming Texas tempests that rips trees from roots and howls like it's got something to prove. Power lines down. Roads flooded. Horses panicking in their stalls. Everyone ran for the main house. Everyone but Lila. She was in the barn, calming the horses, singing softly again, even as the wind threatened to pull the roof off. Wade burst in, soaked to the bone. "What in God's name are you doing?" "They're scared," she said. "They remember things, just like we do." She didn't move. So he stayed too. They sat beside the oldest mare, stroking her mane through the thunder. Lila's hair clung to her face in wet tendrils. Wade watched her with a look that was part awe, part something deeper. "You don't have to keep sleeping in here," he said suddenly, voice low. Lila looked up. "I figured you liked it that way," she said gently. Wade shook his head. "I don't like much of anything anymore. But the house feels empty without you." The words hung in the air, heavier than the storm outside. After that night, things shifted. Wade cleared out the guest room. The others didn't say anything, but they noticed. How she filled the kitchen with the smell of cinnamon bread and humming. How she patched shirts with the same quiet skill she used on fences. How Wade, the man who once grunted more than he spoke, now smiled when she was near. Months passed. Spring rolled in like a second chance. One morning, the ranch cook didn't show. A bad fall had left him bedridden. Lila stepped in, no questions asked. She fed 15 men before sunrise, then went out and helped deliver a calf in the back pasture. That evening, the same hands who once laughed handed her a piece of pecan pie they'd saved. "We were wrong about you," one mumbled. Lila smiled. "I was wrong about me too." One night, under a stretch of stars so clear it made your chest ache, Wade took her hand and said, "I don't think you came here just to work." She nodded. "I think I came here to remember how to live." By the end of that year, no one called her the woman who slept in the barn. They called her family. She never asked for anything, but they gave it anyway. A spot at the Sunday table. A carved nameplate on her stall door. A hand-sewn quilt from the ranch wives. And on one quiet morning in late May, Wade asked her to stay, truly stay. Not as a worker. Not even as a guest. But as his home. She said yes. Not with a shout, but a whisper. Because sometimes, the softest things carry the most weight. They laughed when she slept in the barn. But they didn't know her heart. Didn't know that kindness sown in silence grows roots deeper than any storm can shake. And when the house stopped feeling empty, it wasn't because someone new had moved in. It was because someone real had finally come home.